And welcome back to the Standard Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Chris. John will not be joining us today. He is currently traveling, but I will be bringing you the Thursday night preview, the Minnesota Vikings versus the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to go through our starts and sits. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Go ahead and hit the notification button at the bottom. And stay tuned for our video that we're going to be dropping on Saturday with all of our starts and sets for Sunday's games. Don't forget, too, that we do have timestamps on the bottom of all of our videos. So if you did want to skip ahead to certain parts or certain teams, I will be going team by team. So we're not going to be jumping back from Eagle player to Viking player. So it'll be well organized for you guys. But that being said, let's go ahead and get rolling. The first team that we're going to start with is the Vikings. So I'll go ahead and show you, our starts and sits for this. Kirk Cousins is going to be a starter. We're going to sit Addison. We're going to start Jefferson. We're going to start Jordan Addison, start Hockenson, and KJ Osborne is our sleeper. The Vikings defense, we will be sitting for this game. I think this is going to be a high-powered offensive game. Both these defenses struggled in the first week of the season. So the Eagles defense, they allowed 76 rushing yards and 306 passing yards to the New England Patriots. So they are a pretty stout defense up front. That's why Alexander Mattison is going to be a sit for us. But they were very susceptible to the passing game. And I think after the second half that we saw from Cousins and Justin Jefferson last week, that they're going to get back on track. I expect a big game from Justin Jefferson here. KJ Osborne is my sleeper. He was targeted twice in the red zone. There was an interception that was thrown on the goal line. I know Addison had the big play. I expect more from the rookie to continue with those kind of stat lines. He did still have the same amount of targets as KJ Osborne. So we do like Jordan Addison as a flex play. If he continues to score touchdowns and he continues to post up 17 points a game, 11 points a game, 17 for PPR, then he is going to move up into a wide receiver 2 status. Now, Kirk Cousins, we do have as a start. I know he was disappointing for a couple people last week. I'm still going to start Kirk Cousins over Dak. I'm still starting him over Derek Carr. So if you guys are looking for some comps there, those are the guys I would probably start Kirk Cousins off of. I don't think he's going to be a QB1 finish. It's hard on the short weeks, I think a lot of the time these rushing attacks seem to be more used on the Thursday night games, but because of the susceptibility to both of these teams in the passing game and the potency of both the passing games, I do think we're going to be seeing a high-scoring shootout in this one. Let's move along to the Philadelphia Eagles. So Jalen Hurts is going to be a start. DeAndre Swift is going to be a sit. Kenneth Gainwell, he's listed here as a sleeper, but he was ruled out today, so he is still going to be out. DeAndre Swift is still going to be a sit for us. We got to see it from him before I am comfortable going ahead and having him start. Even as a flex play, I think there are a ton of other options. I know the waivers just went through. Josh Kelly is still available in your league. Go pick him up because Austin Eckler did not practice today, and it looks like Kelly is going to get a lot of the workload. I would start him over DeAndre Swift. At this point, DeAndre Swift is going to be a sit for me until he gets more involved into this offense. I mean, just seeing one rush from him and one reception from him last week in a game where they controlled the game from early on, and then things got out of hand and got a little wacky against the Patriots. And have that kind of low volume, I can't start him. The receivers, you're going to start AJ Brown, you're going to start Devonta Smith. Both these guys, again, we're looking for a big bounce back game from this. I think that they were held on to a narrow victory, and they do want to establish themselves as a top team in the league again this year. And after seeing what Dallas just did to the Giants, I think that this team is going to be out to kind of prove something. And against the Vikings defense, who allowed 169 passing yards last week to Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I expect A.J. Brown to be the recipient of a bigger game this game. I know Devonta Smith last week had the touchdown. I do expect A.J. Brown to be more heavily used. I think this team is more susceptible to bigger-bodied receivers and physical receivers down the field. So I think A.J. Brown, go ahead and start him as a wide receiver one. I'm still starting Devonta Smith. I'm a little less confident in him this week. This might be an off week. Dallas Goedert's probably going to get a lot more involved this week, considering he didn't have a catch last week. But again, if you see on our start sit, Goddard is still going to be a sit. Again, I think that there are a lot of options at tight end that are going underused. Luke Musgrave, Sam Laporta, Hunter Henry, those guys. Hunter Henry went undrafted and he's still only owned in less than 30% of leagues. The guy was a tight end one last week. He's going to be heavily involved in this offense because of the lack of pass catchers in that offense. I don't think that they fully trust Juju. Hunter Henry made some great catches. He's always been a sure-handed receiver, and he always just quietly seems to be like a tight end 11 finish. And yeah, he's not going to go week in and week out, but he's going to put up numbers for you. And again, Goddard, I think, is the odd man out with Devonta Smith and with A.J. Brown. So I think that he might get a lot more usage, in some weeks where the matchup is better. But I think he has a very high chance of just absolutely disappearing in games like he did last week. Jalen Hurts, he's going to be a full-on start. I do expect a much bigger game from him. Rushing and passing. So Minnesota, they gave up only 242 yards last week and 20 points, but they only allowed 73 yards of rushing to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then again, Baker Mayfield is not Jalen Hurts. I expect Jalen Hurts to be heavily involved, especially with Gainwell out. I'm curious to see if Rashad Penny is going to get active for this game. And get work for this game. I know we talked about in the preseason that both Rashad Penny and DeAndre Swift are going to be involved in this offense, and we had a healthy scratch week one for Rashad Penny, and it shocked the hell out of me. I wonder if that's going to happen this week. They're going to have to. I wonder if it's just going to be Boston Scott and DeAndre Swift in that backfield this weekend, and they're going to heavily lean on Jalen Hurts to be the runner. But I am going to start the Eagles defense. They had a score last week. This front seven is really good, and they should be getting after Kirk Cousins. That's my one big question on starting Kirk Cousins this week is this Eagles defense is legit up front. They're not going to be allowing a lot of rushing yards. They're going to get after the quarterback. They have edge rushers to do that. And the offensive line for Minnesota is not great pass pro. So I do, even though they're gonna give up points. I mean, this is one of those defenses that you're gonna be okay with them giving up points. They're not gonna pitch shutouts, but they're gonna get after the quarterback. They'll have a turnover or two, and you saw last week what they did with the turnover. They scored a touchdown off of it early in the game, and after that they broke a little bit, but that's okay. They still had a solid performance. So that's our start sit for Thursday night. I hope everyone is paying attention to this. If you do have questions, comments, start sit questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. We do try to get back to everyone as soon as possible. Especially this video is going to drop on Thursday morning. So if you are having questions on who you should start sit, or if you should start and sit one player from this game over another player in Sunday's game, go ahead and leave those in the comments. We'll get back to you. Otherwise, good luck in this week 2 matchup. I know I have some stake in this game. I have 2 players going. Both my wide receivers are going in this game, but I'm pretty happy about that. I got Justin Jefferson and Devonta Smith on my team, and I'm going up against Jalen Hurts. So this should be an interesting matchup for me. I'm going to be screaming cheerful joys and then screaming for very hurtful touchdowns when Jalen Hurts ends up, throwing up some points on me. But that's okay because I'm 1-0 right now, and that's a great feeling to have. Anyway, guys, Thanks for tuning in. Join us on Saturday. Like I said, we're going to be dropping our full start sit for the weekend. And we'll see you then.